Hey guys, it's time to start Bollox Talks and Tangents. You get to see me pouring the drink right now. We're talking about food and influencers in food. You guys did a similar show about a year and a half ago, and we're going to get some of that might be a little repeated.
Yes.
But I didn't know you guys did a show when I was in Iceland about this.
Yeah, but don't worry, Dad. But hopefully there's no discussion over Paula Dean again because last time because last time I talked about her, Lenny's chef friends were not happy with me.
Well, you can't deny her influence in food, though. It's a lot of butter.
Right. So now we know why Blake was so in favor of her. We learned that today.
I'm not endorsing her.
Well, hey,
Okay. Maybe we do have her pans, and it still works.
Let's get to the intro here, producer.
We got a show to work.
I'm the real star here. Come on.
Well.
You are the real star in my mind, but we got people we got to pay the bills, and we got to talk about them. And one of them is St. Augustine Distillery, and we're drinking their fine rum. It is the reserve rum, and I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know if I have a rum I like more than this rum.
It's delicious.
It's excellent.
Delicious.
It is excellent. But they just came out with it last year.
Yep.
And all the stuff they do over at St. Augustine Distillery, including their tours, their tasting classes, all those things are at the highest level. And their sister company, Citygate Spirits.
Yeah. If you're looking for a comparison, I would compare this to an Appleton aged rum, sipping rum. Not necessarily, I mean, you can mix this with anything, but it's more of a sipping kind of rum because it's just that good. You know, it's full-bodied. It's got a little bit of molasses flavors going on in there. Probably the Florida cane sugar, but still.
Yeah, I'm sure it's the Florida cane sugar. They do a really good job of keeping the products based in Florida, which
Correct.
is really I really enjoy as a Florida man.
There you go.
All right, and we did survive Florida man.
Absolutely. What a great day. What a
weekend.
Beautiful day it was out there.
A lot of running around for me. You and I kept reconnecting.
Yes.
I'd have to come find you and Julie and I was the third wheel in your Florida man.
You're always welcome.
Appreciate you guys putting up with me.
Always welcome.
But just a fun event, a great time. Most of our people out there were out there helping out. But Amanda already wrote butter.
Right. I forgot to mention if Amanda caught the, her favorite number was on the back of the women's team jerseys.
Oh, it's on every jersey.
Oh, was it? Okay,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, it wasn't just the women.
All right. Boy, Amanda does have some sway, doesn't she?
Yeah, it wasn't
All
just
right.
the women.
Good job, Amanda.
It wasn't just on the ball
Getting that
busters.
out there.
So, also our other sponsors, Meehan's Irish Pub. Hey, you know what's coming up?
St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, I'll be back for it.
I was a month early last month.
Yeah, you were a little early for it.
I know. We still got a couple weeks.
A little early for it,
Yeah.
but Reggie and his crew over there just do an absolutely amazing job. Wonderful food, wonderful atmosphere, 3 bars in one.
Yep.
You can't find a better place to celebrate St. Patrick's Day.
Their planning and their staging for the event is already underway. They are ready to go. They are going to have a great day there at Meehan's on the Bayfront.
Yep. All right, Abare, Kresge and Associates. It is tax season.
I got to do mine.
You want to save money? Get with an accountant that's a quality accountant, and there's no one better than Abare, Kresge and Associates. All right, St. Augustine Pirate Museum. Over 800 original artifacts. Cindy and that entire crew and the Croce family do an amazing job of reviving it. Captain Mayhem, if you get him to do a tour, it's phenomenal. He just really just rocks it and takes you back to the golden age of piracy. So, all right, the Vault and Company, one of our newest sponsors. To me, their pawn shop is, sometimes you walk into a pawn shop and you feel like, okay, I'm not sure. This one to me is the next level up. It feels like a high-end jewelry store.
Well,
and it is a pawntique.
It's a pawntique, exactly.
It is a pawntique, and if you're looking for a gift for your wife, your girlfriend, and she loves handbags, they have probably the best selection of handbags, high-end handbags in town. I've never seen any pawn shop that has
nothing you would,
or any. Right. I'm talking quality stuff. I go in there, Brian and his staff over there. they're number one in coins in town too.
Okay.
So if you're
That's
if
good
you're
to know.
if you're in the coin world,
I got some old ones.
this is a guy to go over there and talk coins with. So, all right. Last but not least, Kaisers. I'm gonna let you talk about Kaisers. I'm gonna take a sip.
There you go. Enjoy your rum. I was just there yesterday talking to Kurt. And I was watching people just enjoy that pastrami sandwich like it was, they hadn't eaten in a week.
Yeah.
It's that good. It's a great deli, Boar's Head Products. He's got the best pastrami in St. Augustine. I will put his pastrami against anybody in town without hesitation. You can get a straight pastrami sandwich on marble rye, or you can get the Kaiser's created Daddle Reuben. It's a Reuben where you got the Swiss cheese, the sauerkraut, the pastrami, and then we made a daddle Russian dressing that just brings out everything.
Wow. I got to try that one.
It's a good sandwich.
Okay.
It really is. It's a
All right,
good
next
sandwich.
time we go over there, remind me, because I'm so locked into the Bollox.
I know.
Blake's always so locked into the White Street. We're creatures of our own creation, and we get that habit in place, and I can't get out of it. So remind me to try that. That sounds amazing. All right. That takes us right to our word origins.
Okay.
What is your word origin of the day?
Cuisine.
Cuisine.
Which was so much easier when I spelt it properly because I typed it in to get a little bit of
starts with
information
a
from the
C,
dictionary. I know,
not a Q.
and a U, but then they stuck an I in before the S.
Oh.
So when I typed in CUSINE,
Mm-hmm.
it said nothing there. So I said, well, let's try something else. Okay. So CUISINE, and a dictionary definition came up.
Oh, that's weird.
So that was strange how that worked. But cuisine, it's a simple one. It's a manner of preparing food or a style of food, or the food prepared, or what you're eating, or the type of a restaurant. And it's literally a translation of the French word for kitchen, which was in 1786 was the first time it was used in this context. And then this is something for us St. Augustinians. It also comes from the Latin for coquina, which I did not know translates to kitchen. Latin coquina into English is kitchen.
Well, la cucina is kitchen.
Right.
I knew
Right.
that.
Yeah, cucina, yeah.
Yeah. La cucina. I thought it was a cocina.
Hard C? I think it's a soft C.
Okay.
Cucina?
All right. Okay.
Could be cocina. Yeah, I think it's a softer C.
I think
but
in the
don't know.
South you say coquina.
Okay. I think in St. Augustine we say coquina, and it's a little gravelly.
Yeah. Well,
So-
I mean, the best realtor in town is Coquina Coast Realty.
Well, we know that for a fact.
Yes.
So cuisine, and it's great. You can have, the cuisine of a restaurant. It's just great because I like to eat. I like food. It was my career.
Coquina cuisine would be tough to say.
3 times fast.
Yeah. I mean, if that ever becomes a restaurant, please don't become our sponsor
Okay.
because that would hurt us.
I know, and we couldn't say it.
Well, I mean,
We could, but it would just be hard.
I mean, I did Coquina Coast Realty because I really like CCR.
Right.
So.
But that's a little bit easier to make work.
Oh, it really was.
Cuisine. Cuisine?
Yeah.
It's like, I think I saw that movie, but
Yeah.
that was cuisine.
No, that was in Mamma Mia.
Yeah.
All right, mine stay with the food
Right.
thing, and I don't know if you're a fan of cooking with us because you're a different level chef than most of the people out there. I mean, how many restaurants have you
I own
started?
3 of my own, yeah.
Okay,
3.
and you were the main chef.
I was.
at each of those 3 restaurants. I've been involved in 4 now of restaurants, but I've never been the chef.
Right.
So I just kind of liked being involved.
Yeah, you eat well.
Yeah, you eat really well, and we've had good success with that. But mine is flambe. I've never cooked anything flambe. Were you ever a cook that used flambe?
Yes, I used to make bananas Foster. It was the signature dessert in 2 of my restaurants.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. With
We
the
didn't do it.
fork.
We didn't do it tableside.
Oh, you didn't?
But no,
Okay.
no, we did it in the kitchen. But I was a little bit, and I used brandy instead of rum, and it was a little brandy in there, and a little brandy for me, a little brandy in there, a little brandy for me, which could explain things going forward. But anyway, yeah.
All right, so do you have any idea where the origin of flambe came from?
I would say France.
You're correct on that.
And it was probably for crepe Suzette.
Okay, it didn't give exactly what the food was, but it came around in the term came around in the late 19th century.
Okay,
It was in
yeah.
France, and it basically just refers to the flame.
Yeah.
So it's basically anything you cook with a flame with alcohol is flambe. And but I mean, they had to cook with alcohol and flames before then. So what did they call it before then? But it didn't come around.
Fire.
Yeah. I mean,
Booga booga.
Yeah. So I don't know what the term was before then because I thought it would go further back. Is what my point is.
Haute cuisine didn't start. We'll talk about it in a little while, but French cuisine didn't become what it was until Antonin Carême, and that was in the very, very late 1700s, early 1800s.
Well, let's elaborate on that. So,
Okay. Well, I just have a quick flambe story that's a lot of fun.
okay, we'll determine that
Okay.
if it's
Well,
fun or not.
so-
Blake,
All right.
put on the fun meter.
Okay.
Turn it on.
So I'm working in Antonio's of Roslyn Italian restaurant, which was in Belmore, but it started in Roslyn.
It's already fun to say.
And yeah, exactly. And it was great. I learned more from Louis Iamuno than you could ever want to know about how to run a restaurant, what to do, what not to do. I'll tell you some stories later, but still. At this point in time, because that in the 3 years I was the chef in this restaurant, Louis changed the format of the restaurant 4 times. But at this iteration, he had maitre d's in tuxedos, waiters in tuxedos, back waiters, and Kevin O'Connor and I were in the kitchen cooking. And all of a sudden, the fire alarm goes off. And I look at Kevin. Kevin looks at me because we're in the kitchen, and we're looking to see where this fire is. And nothing in the kitchen was on fire. So, make a long story short, we got into the dining room, and the maitre d' was a gentleman by the name of Giordano.
Of course.
He was a Yugoslavian who pretended to be an Italian.
Okay.
My feet hurt.
What was his real name?
Giordano.
Yugoslavian, his real name was Giordano.
Yeah. You got to understand, Yugoslavia and Italy are very close and intertwined right up there in the northeast side of it. You got Yugoslavians who claim to be Italians, and every now and again an Italian claims to be Yugoslavian.
Okay.
Now there's no Yugoslavia, it's pretty much just Croatia.
Yeah. What was his name? Hugo?
Yeah. And man, I'm in pain just thinking about him because this man wore the pointiest, tightest shoes that the poor man minced around the dining room because he couldn't walk in the shoes that he had on. Shiny like you wouldn't even begin to know. But he's got the gear on up on the counter, which is just a rolling cart, up in the dining room. And he's just showing off, and he was doing a flambe dessert, and he's pouring the rum in it, and he lights that thing off, and the flame goes up to the ceiling. About 3 seconds later, the alarms go off because Giordano didn't realize he did it right under the smoke detector, and the flame licked right into the smoke detector, and that's what set it off.
It didn't set the sprinklers.
No.
Thank goodness.
No. But it was loud for a little while.
Yeah.
So that's Giordano and his flambe.
All right, to go to Yugoslavia, what was the Yugoslavian dictator's name that was there for Tito?
Marshall Bros Tito.
Tito. Okay, it was
Yeah.
Tito. So
Yeah.
not
Not the vodka guy in Texas.
and not the Jackson.
No.
Okay.
No.
Not the vodka guy, not the Jackson.
Correct.
So
Right.
probably the second most famous. I would put him ahead of Tito Jackson,
Right.
the leader.
Yeah.
So he's second.
Yeah.
The vodka's number one.
I would think so. Nowadays, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh, wait a second. Oh, no. I take it all back. Tito Puente.
Tito Puente. See,
And to quote Bill Murray in Stripes.
yeah. I think we're past that era of
Well,
Tito Puente.
sure. Well, have you met me?
Yeah,
That's Mr. Miller to you. That's
think
Mr. Miller to you.
We might be past the Yugoslavian Tito,
Right, I would think so.
and we're probably past the Tito Jackson. So you might still be right. Blake, do you know another Tito?
Tito Ortiz, the MMA guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Tito Santana, pro wrestler.
Yeah. Yeah. So there was a baseball player.
That's what
with
I'm trying to think so.
Francona?
Tito-
Tito Francona?
Tito Martinez.
That's Tino.
Oh, that was Tino. Sorry,
And
not.
he's my age, so
Yeah.
I played against him when he was at UT.
Yeah.
Right here at Flagler Field. So Tino Martinez was played-
Yep. Tito Francona.
Tito Francona. Okay. All
Wasn't that Terry? Doesn't he manage the Red Sox?
Let's see. Tito.
I think Francona was married. Does he manage the Red Sox?
No. Tito. Let's see. Tito did manage.
That's Terry.
That's
Yeah.
no. That's that's Terry Francona.
Right.
That's Tito's son.
Ah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Current Reds manager right now.
Yeah, he's the Cincinnati Reds manager now.
Yeah. You and I gonna have a little bet on who ends up better, the Mets or the Reds this season?
No. The Mets are spending $1 billion.
Yeah, but we don't have a pitcher.
Yeah, well, like the Reds.
You guys
do.
have Grimace.
Right. I can tell you this: the Reds. I'm going to make this prediction. The Reds have the guy who's going to lead the league in strikeouts, and I think he's going to get 15 wins. I think Hunter Green's going to get 15 wins this year. Have you ever seen him pitch?
I have.
Yeah,
I have.
Well, okay, but we'll see, okay. So do you also think Hunter Green's going to get below 10 losses, or you think maybe?
Yes, I think he's going to be below 10 losses. I think the Reds are actually going to score some runs for him this year.
Just let Andy run.
Because last year he had some quality starts and got losses because our relief pitch is terrible.
Yeah, but
that's the one thing we might have on the Mets is a bullpen.
Yeah, but one big thing though.
Yeah, Soto.
Will Ellie De La Cruz strike out less this year?
I don't know if he can strike out more.
Yeah,
I mean, it's sad. That's part of baseball now. Is it used to be you took pride and you never struck out.
Right.
Like, I mean, if I struck out, I would. I mean, I can tell you this, and it sounds like a brag, but I have very good pride in it. If my guy who's in town, the ninth best shortstop in Stetson University history, is there, he can kind of back me up on it because he saw a lot of my games. In college, I bet I struck out, in 4 years, I struck out less than 10 times.
That's impressive. In
high school, my senior year, I know I struck out twice. And I know exactly which pitcher they were against, and one of them was a bad call.
So you're in favor of the new...
I would have definitely went like this, and I would have won, because the new rule...
Right, you're in favor of this now, okay.
And it was an umpire that I grew up with, and he called me Troy Boy and everything, and his name was Bobby Weich. And Bobby, that pitch was high. So it was up here.
Yeah.
So I struck out twice in high school, but there was a pride...
Sure.
In not striking out in baseball at that time.
But,
and that does not exist.
I know.
It's only about, they don't even care if you hit it. You know, my entire career was hitting it where they ain't.
Right.
I didn't hit it hard, but now it's exit velocity. You know, he got a base hit.
It's all about power.
He got a base hit, but his exit velocity was 110. So he's still out.
Right.
That doesn't score your runs.
But we'll say though the guy with the most strikeouts, like as a batter all time, is Reggie Jackson. Guess where he's at? The Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Reggie compared to these guys, you know, Reggie still hit 285.
Right.
These guys are striking out and hitting 239, and they're calling them all-stars. You know.
Yeah.
But what's the walk-ins percentage though? Because like Kyle Schwarber still was leading off, batting 190, but he still had like a 390 on base percentage and still hitting
390, Blake.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to look that shit up. I can't see Schwarber, and Schwarber hits bombs from the leadoff spot.
Right.
He's a likable guy. Right. But you can't hit 190.
And he hits well against the Mets, which pisses me off.
Let's see.
Come on, 390 on base percentage, hitting 190.
Okay. 2024, it was actually 2023. It was a 197 batting average, 343 on base.
343. That's a big difference from 390. That's 50 points.
Yeah. But still hit 47 home runs and still drove in 104 and still had 104
What did he do in 24?
24, it was 248 and 366 on base.
Okay, he hit 248.
Yeah.
Okay, he improved his average quite a bit.
Yeah.
So, but
it's either a strikeout or a home run with him.
He still got MVP votes despite batting below the the Mendoza line.
See, that's crazy to me.
Right.
Yeah. Anybody who hit under 200.
Yeah. His home runs were productive. That's the issue with that. You know, so there are a lot of them were clutch or a lot of them were game changing. So.
Yeah. But, you know, I'll tell you something that's shocking. You know, and Tony Gwynn, I think, is one of the greatest hitters of all time.
I love that man. I loved watching him swing.
Tony Gwynn, in today's stats and stuff like that, check his on-base percentage next to, like, a Barry Bonds, Blake. It'll blow you away. Like, his, you know, he might have hit 336, but he didn't walk a lot.
No.
You know why? Because he made contact.
Yeah.
I didn't walk a lot, you know, because I like to hit. I'm not gonna lie. I got hit by a lot of pitches, but if I get two strikes on me, I just get hit.
Yeah.
But,
So Tony Gwynn's career was 388 on base percentage. Barry Bonds was 444.
Yeah.
Now,
what's their batting average though against each other's batting average?
I believe Barry is like 312 to.
Barry's was 312. That sounds high.
Yeah, surprisingly is, and Tony Gwynn was 338.
Yeah.
Now let me double check here. So before Bonds took steroids, Bonds was still a 411.
You don't know when he took steroids. You can't say when that was.
Would you say relatively agree that that was 1999 after the home run chase?
He started on steroids well before that.
Yeah.
Just so you understand.
Because
I can tell you
when do you
right
think
now.
When do you think the cutoff point
during
is?
During the 80s, the steroids that were being taken in, no one measured it. No one measured it at all. There were basically horse steroids that just. There was guys with pimples on their back in the locker rooms that were just in hairy patches, and it was gross. It was just gross. It's stuff that was horrible for your liver and just terrible. But at the level I played at, which was like 6 levels down from Major League Baseball, I would say 40 to 50% were doing something along those lines if they were playing at any type of level. Almost 80 or 90% during the late 80s, early 90s had already experimented.
All right.
And there's people that are never come up in a steroid conversation that I know had participated in.
Now, big thing is, so there's a lot of conspiracy theories about this, and I want your opinion. Do you think Griffey took any?
Junior?
I don't know because I never saw any dramatic changes in his body style.
He didn't get bulky.
And he always had probably one of the most beautiful swings in the history of baseball. But I would not be surprised at that. His dad, later in the career, might have done it to extend his career. And if his dad was doing it, then he was probably doing it. But, because he was a speedster early in his career, but he was a pretty big guy late in his career. He played like 20-something years. So his body completely changed. So, it's hard to say who. But I have no problem with the steroid guys being in the Hall of Fame. Because I played with a lot of guys I was much better than that used steroids and I didn't. And steroids don't make you a baseball player. They just heal you better.
I definitely do think.
A little bit more power.
And I definitely do think if those players came out earlier, and said yeah, we did it, then I believe they'll be voted in a lot earlier than they should have.
After the strike of '94, baseball had to be saved. So I believe the baseball's got a little bit harder.
Right.
I believe the strike zone got a little bit tighter. And the guys were getting bigger. Mm-hmm. And after 94, that had to happen to save baseball. Mm-hmm. So people can bitch about the steroid era and all that stuff, but it wasn't illegal at the time. They didn't have rules against it. And
it was kind of a level playing field because the majority of the people were doing it. So if you're competing against people that are doing the same thing, then,
Most of the guys that were on my teams that were on steroids were pitchers.
Really?
Because the recovery time is more important to a pitcher.
Yeah, it didn't make him too bulky.
If you've ever pitched, no, because you stretch and you do that, and there's a lot of myths with steroids also, where they're holding water and things like that. But if you stretch and do what you're supposed to do, it benefits pitchers more than it does batters, in a lot of ways. Okay. So just because if you've ever pitched 6 or 7 innings in any baseball game, no matter what shape you're in. It just tears your body down. Yeah, that's why it's amazing. That's why it's amazing what Nolan Ryan did throughout his career.
For as long as he did it,
Randy Johnson did. These guys that were absolute power pitchers, and what they were able to do.
And that's why at the end of his career, Clemens had a juice. Yeah.
Yeah, he was juicing early.
Yeah,
he was juicing early, and that's why I'm saying pitchers were probably the number one abusers of what I saw live. even over batters.
And
Yeah.
other than Clemens, I can't recall, and that's just me, but I can't recall a pitcher that got called out for that as opposed to the hitters.
Pettit did too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Forgot about that.
But also think but also Pettit came out and said yes, he did use it as well. So, but one thing though, but I definitely know one pitcher that wasn't called out in it, and he had a long career, Randy Johnson.
Yeah, Randy Johnson. I don't know if Randy Johnson did it. You didn't see a big frame change, but the other thing is there's hacks around it.
Yeah.
I mean, even NFL players today. You know what NFL players today do?
Viagra.
100%. Because it
Blood
increases
flow.
increases the testosterone at such a high level, and they take the strongest strength Viagra, which is basically a testosterone boost, which is a steroid, and it's completely legal.
Yeah.
And no one bitches about Ocho Cinco, who was on Viagra, 200 milligram Viagra or whatever it is, and I don't know how they do that, but I mean that's in a uniform, I think it would show.
Well, first he has to be stimulated first in order for the pill to work, unless it came out that he was gay. I don't know.
It might be. There's cheerleaders there.
Okay, fair enough.
All right, but we're completely off topic.
Exactly.
We
And we've
went
got some questions about some of the chefs here.
We went on a tangent.
Yeah.
That's
What
part of the
a
show.
surprise.
So, which chef, in your opinion, has been the most influential on food to our generation?
Domestically or internationally?
You choose.
Okay, to our generation, that narrows it down a little bit. I might go, strangely enough, with Guy Fieri.
Okay.
He's not the most talented, but he's certainly the most prevalent. I have Gordon Ramsay is a very, very talented chef, but I can't watch any of his shows because he screams too much, and
I'll definitely say to the Gordon Ramsay stuff, like watch the UK shows. I definitely believe the UK audience understands Ramsay a lot better. And it's definitely much more reserved, and much more critical about
So
the
you
chefs.
think in the U.S. show is more for show?
yes.
Okay.
And believe it or not,
more
his
performance than
His
Yes.
Next Level Kitchen show that's on the air now is the most watched cooking show there is these days.
Yeah.
That Next Level Kitchen with the elevator thing.
'cause
I don't watch it.
Celebrity guys have Gordon slightly ahead of Fieri.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. His restaurants are
But
more
I'm
successful
talking
than
about-
Guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. His restaurants are awesome. Like going to Las Vegas. You
The last one we went to wasn't great.
it was.
It wasn't great,
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
he does hamburgers now.
Yeah,
But he can make a lot of money doing
What was
hamburgers.
the one called? It
The
was-
Ramsay's Kitchen.
Yeah, it was not like Hell's Kitchen.
No.
Hell's Kitchen was next level.
And that's the show that turned me off to him, because it was just, he brings these people in, and it's,
But it was the entertainment value.
absolutely.
entertainment.
But
It was
but
more
from
entertainment than food.
Yeah, but for me, it was just all frustration, because they're there, and it's okay. So the customers are coming in, and they got to make, I think it was like 2 appetizers and 2 entrees were a choice of. It wasn't like a full menu.
Yeah.
And it's 45 minutes, and nobody's got the food. And I'm looking, I'm going, give me 5 minutes. Let me knock these people out of the way, and I'll get food on the plate and to the table before they're done, because it wasn't a competency issue. And he screams and he rants.
What was your order to plate time in your mind at your restaurant? What was that? Was it a hard number, or was it?
No, it depended on what the dishes were. It depends on how big the table was. You had to pay attention to not lose a deuce behind an 8 top, because you get so focused on serving the 8 meals for that table, and it takes a little bit of time, because depending on how big the kitchen was. And my kitchen staff were very small. I mean, there were usually 2 people behind the line. Some restaurants I worked in, there were 3 or 4 people. It wasn't my restaurants, but mine, it was myself, a sous chef, and maybe a salad person, or a pastry person. And if you could, from firing the ticket to getting the food to the table, 8 minutes,
Okay.
you're doing okay.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Because the reality of it is you get the order in and you start to prep the order. You don't fire it up to get it onto the plate until they're ready for it, because things will either overcook, dry out, things of that nature, but you're ready to go. So then when they fire the ticket, then you go bang, bang, and you put it on the plate and send it out. So.
All right, and so you have Fieri, and I was going more for like the food industry. So I was locked in on a James Beard.
Okay.
So I have him as the most influential person.
It's a generation ago.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
You
absolutely.
think it's a generation back, but I think
James Beard, yeah, I think you talk to people today, other than the James Beard Award, they don't know who James Beard is.
Yeah, but I think that still carries so much weight. And
Yeah.
you cooked at the James Beard Foundation.
I did. I did Julia Child's birthday party.
Number 2 on
I
my
did.
list.
Yep.
Number 2 on
I
my
did-
list is most.
I did her.
influential.
I did her 70th birthday cake with one of the most talented food professionals I know. A gentleman by the name of Nick Malgieri is one of the most talented food professionals. He's one of my instructors in restaurant school, and he's just the man is gifted. I worked on a couple of cookbooks with him. It was a pleasure, and he did Julia Child's 70th birthday cake, and we did a Jack Daniel's buttercream because Julia liked her Jack Daniels.
Yeah,
She did.
Well, and I have Julia as, and I did like my first 3 that I felt like were the ones that like, okay, I love different foods and different things, and I've only been around one master chef like as a person. I was helping him with some PR stuff, and that was Johnny Rivers, a black master chef.
Yeah.
He started as a potato peeler at
Yep.
Disney World. He basically, if you eat at Disney and you enjoyed that meal, that was probably created by Johnny Rivers. So he's the only one I was really around at that level, and he's the one who introduced me to Cool in the Gang. But I have my top 3. My podium is James Beard, Julia Child, Silver, and then I have Anthony Bourdain.
He brought food. He combined travel and food together. And it's funny too because
When you travel
yeah,
and you land, my first thing is, where are we going to eat?
right.
It's not where are we going to go.
Right.
It's not what are we going to see. It's where are we going to eat.
Right.
And to me, that's a very a big thought process with me of like how I travel, and I think Anthony created that in a lot of people that watched him.
But what was good about him is, from time to time he would go to some of the best restaurants in the area that he's traveling. But for the most part, he was working on the regional cuisine and the cuisine itself, as opposed to the greatest restaurant. Now, look, I've had the absolute privilege of eating in some of the best restaurants in the world. I've eaten at Tai Avant, I've eaten at Lutece, the French Laundry.
But if you have Belly Busters in DeLand.
Well, hey, I had a White Castle. There was a White Castle in Valley Stream, right close to where I grew up, and I was on the way home after some late nights. Believe me when I tell you.
I bet.
But and I consider that an absolute privilege to eat in those restaurants. To this day, one of my favorite restaurants for Julie and I is when we're in Vegas. We'll go sit at the bar at Bouchon, which is a Thomas Keller restaurant. He's the French Laundry.
Thomas is on my list.
Yep, absolutely. The man's brilliant. And it's as well. I ate at Per Se, which is his flagship in New York City. I ate at Guy Savoy at Caesar's Palace. I mean, I'm almost embarrassed to say how much money I've spent on some of these meals because it's just expensive. But by that same token, tax deduction, travel and entertainment, education.
All right. And certain chefs have certain meals attached to them.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So when you think of seafood, what chef do you think of?
I'm going to say Jack Papon for when he was working at Howard Johnson's and he made the clam strips.
Okay.
Because Jacques Papon, who, by the way, I don't fanboy often, but when I was living in New York City years ago in the early '80s, I was walking down the street one day and I saw Jacques Papon go that way, and I just turned around and followed him for a block just because I'm in awe of that man. To this day, the man's an absolute brilliant person. He's a great artist. He draws a lot of chickens. He's still cooking. He's got a great foundation. He's putting a lot of underprivileged people to learn how to cook and get jobs. But he turned down, he was the chef at La Pavillon in Manhattan. And earlier in his career, he was the chef for Charles de Gaulle in France.
Okay.
And then 2 other succeeding French presidents. Comes to New York, he opens La Pavillon. And one of his customers was Howard Johnson. Well, JFK and Jackie Kennedy asked Jacques Papon to come be the White House chef
Okay.
turned him down, and ended up spending 10 years doing research and development for Howard Johnson.
Okay.
For Howard Johnson, for the
Hotel.
orange, for the orange roofs, absolutely. So I get a real kick out of that. So it's hard to think of anybody other than that when it comes to seafood for the clam strips at Howard Johnson's.
All right. And you brought up Le Pavillon.
Yeah,
And
which is back now.
I can tell you, the best meal I've had in St. Augustine was the carpetbagger at Le Pavillon that used to be on San Marco. I think it's
Oh yeah.
Chez L'Amour.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
What it is now. But the carpetbagger was a fillet with
Stuffed with oysters. Absolutely. That's
stuffed
a
with
that's a
oysters.
classic
And-
dish.
And I'm telling you right now, that was the best meal in St. Augustine, and it hasn't been replaced since Le
Yeah,
Pavillon
yeah.
has been left.
Yeah.
That was, to me, the best meal in St. Augustine was that carpetbagger at Le Pavillon. Did you ever get a chance to have it?
No, I don't know that it was there when. Maybe it was because it might have been haunted at the time too. Yeah. But
Best meal you've ever had at a restaurant in St. Augustine?
in St. Augustine, probably a steak at Michael's. When he became steaks instead of tapas.
Okay.
You know, beautiful piece of meat, great accoutrements, fabulous wine list. Julie and I went there for one of our anniversaries. Might have been our 24th or so. Phenomenal bottle of wine. He's got a great wine list there
He's now over at the Hyatt
in Volano Beach.
Volano.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So, so that would probably been your best meal.
Yeah. In St. Augustine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I think so.
All right, we got to talk about some of our sponsors. I thank you guys for sticking around with us here, and we want to hear. I'm throwing this out there to my audience out there. Best meal you've had in St. Augustine. I want to hear where it is and what that meal was. All right. First, we're going to start off with the Vault and Company. It is a Pontique. Their coins, jewelry, and handbags. There's no pawn shop in this town that's even can compare with them. Right there on Ponce de Leon Boulevard. Get over there and check out Brian and the guys at the Vault and Company. All right, Kaiser's Deli and Market. Amazing sandwiches. Don't sleep on their market. They have a lot of local vendors there that do honey, soaps, all different types of things. Get over there to Kaiser's. Best pastrami in town,
Absolutely.
without a doubt. All right, St. Augustine Pirate Museum. I got the hiccups right now, Lenny, so I might need your help in here in a second. St. Augustine Pirate Museum, they have they have over 800 original artifacts. Their keyboards and their touch screens. You can look up any pirate that was involved in the golden age of piracy. Now there's a new age of piracy
There you go.
in Somalia. They're not playing around over there.
Still.
They're doing the real deal. But these guys talk about all of those things and the ages of pirates. Check it out. They just do an amazing job over there. Abare, Kresge and Associates. It is tax season. Give them a call. They're going to save you money. Don't try and do it yourself. It's just not worth it. Give them a call. Save your money there. Meehan's. All right. Talk about how amazing Reggie and his crew are.
And they are gearing up for St. Patrick's Day. I promise you. I was talking to a friend of mine who is one of the hostesses there, and she is looking forward to a busy day on Monday, a week from.
A week from.
Yeah.
A week
Yeah.
from. I'll be back for it.
There you go.
I'll be back for it. All right, St. Augustine Distillery. We're drinking the rum tonight. It is the best rum I've ever had, and that is it's a lot of times you're like, oh, you're blowing smoke because that is your sponsor. But these guys, I'm not a rum drinker, and I'm very honest about I'm not a rum drinker. I'm a whiskey drinker. I'm a bourbon drinker, but this rum to me is the best rum I've ever had.
And it's a sipping rum in my opinion. I wouldn't bother trying to mix this with anything because that's not the way you should be drinking this rum in particular. And I am a big rum drinker, but I'm very particular about it. So I have about 6 different rums that I enjoy, and each in a specific preparation. But now I got to sort of speak to Bobby and Barbara Jean for a second because they put Graham Kerr in the comments.
Yeah.
The Galloping Gourmet. And in doing our research today, I was looking him up because I also watched him as a kid and really enjoyed it. As he comes leaping in and he leaps over the hassock or the chair, which apparently his wife had him do it because she was his producer and partner.
Yeah.
But it's funny because they're saying they love how he would drink through the show and everything. Well, he actually didn't. He would go, and as he said, all right, we'll be back in a second, he'd raise the glass to his lips. They'd cut to commercial. He wouldn't drink. They come out of commercial, and he'd be going, "Oh, that was delicious." And he wasn't a big drinker, apparently.
Okay.
So there you go. But yeah, he was formative in my.
You and I are big drinkers. I mean, you're only like 5'6", right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and I'm
if I
5'8".
stretch.
I'm 5'8".
Yeah,
So I'm 5'8" and getting smaller.
But I will tell you, something we need to add to the pantheon, if I want to bring somebody into it, is a gentleman by the name of Daniel Boulud.
Okay.
He's got a bunch of restaurants. He's got DB Brasserie in, I want to say, the Encore. He's got 2 or 3 restaurants in Manhattan. He's also now going across the country and opening restaurants. And for a while, he did a TV show called After Hours. Which is one of the greatest things I've ever seen. Because he would go, and because he had so many people train under him that have gone and opened restaurants, he would just show up in one of their restaurants, not unannounced, but he would show up at their restaurants, bring an ingredient, get in there in the morning before they opened, he'd prep everything, and then he'd invite 6 or 7 people to join him for dinner. He would prepare whatever he did, whether it was white asparagus, whether it was the first white bait of the season, little fish that he would fry up, didn't matter. And they'd sit around the table, and it was usually 3 or 4 people that were chefs, and 2 or 3 people who had really good publicists, because there'd be 2 or 3 actors. I mean, I remember Tiki Barber was at a table one day. One of the women who was an actress.
Not Rondé.
No, Tiki.
Not his twin brother.
No, it was Tiki.
The guy who quit too soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what's he at?
No, he's looking at Shakan going, I could have been that guy.
Yeah.
And the Giants are going, why'd you leave us then?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Quit too soon.
But it's a great show. If you ever get a chance to find it someplace, he does. He talks about food, but then they just sit at the table, they eat, they drink, and they tell stories, and it's great because some of the stories this guy told. He was at dinner one day with Wally Dufresne and Alfred Portali, Dale Boulud, and there was a fourth chef there. And, these guys were all younger back then, and they just finished it at night, and they were going out drinking, and they got in a taxi cab. And I may have told this story, but I don't know if I did here. And the cab driver said, you guys mind if I go and I take a piss? And he pulls over, and they say, fine, no problem, go. Guy goes to the bathroom. They look at each other. They get in the cab, and they take his cab, and they go joyriding around Manhattan. And, they eventually bring the cab back, and the cab driver's freaking out. And everybody's going, everyone around the table's going, so what did you do? They said, we gave him a really, really big tip. That was it,
exactly.
Because these guys were whacked. You finish work and you're wired after cooking for 6-7 hours, and you got to unwind somehow because you can't go home and go to sleep. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So it was a pretty wild story. So if you can find After Hours someplace, it's really worth it.
All right. And because you're the expert on this category, ranked again, it's 2 years in a row, it's ranked again as the top restaurant in Northeast Florida is Lotus.
Okay.
Now, I own the building, but I don't really have anything to do with the restaurant. Barry's a close friend of mine.
Right.
As a chef at the Lotus, what makes it unique in comparison to some of the other restaurants that are in town?
Well,
and I want you to give me, and I'm putting you on the spot here because we didn't talk about this before the show. I want you to give me your top 3, and we have 2 restaurants on our sponsor list.
Okay.
But I want you to give me your honest opinion, not necessarily what's on our sponsor list here. Your top 3 restaurants
in St. Augustine?
In St. Augustine, if you have a special occasion.
Special occasion? Lotus is fabulous. I don't know if it's for everybody because it's got a pretty truncated menu and it's pretty specific. Mm-hmm. It's a ramen restaurant, but everybody thinks of ramen as cup of noodles or that, and that's not it.
It's not the 25.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
He's got a dry ramen, he's got wet ramen, and what I really admire about Barry is he took Japanese techniques, and he's a French trained chef. He worked in one of the best restaurants I've ever eaten in, which is La Bernardin. Right, and I'm a Pisces. I don't eat a lot of fish. fish. I consider it kind of cannibalistic. But I've been at La Bernardin a couple of times for dinner, and I'll eat fish there.
I've never been there, and I've been in New York, and I was like, okay, Barry. He's like, I'll hook you up, and the timing never worked.
It's an experience.
Yeah,
I mean,
timing never worked, and I want to put that in. That's on my bucket list of restaurants because it's been ranked.
It's elegant.
Like 5 out of the last 7 years, the #1 restaurant in the world.
Yeah, and Eric Repair, who's the chef there now, he took over for Guy Lacose and his sister because he
Barry
died.
was a sous.
Barry worked there for sure.
Yeah.
It's fabulous, and Eric Repair is just brilliant, and he was one of Tony Bourdain's best friends.
Yeah,
absolutely. Those guys were almost inseparable. But Le Bernardin is outstanding. What I appreciate about Barry is he brings the French technique to the Japanese recipes, but the caliber and quality of the ingredients he uses are phenomenal.
His truffles are
really, it's just phenomenal. And what I like about Barry is he gets to every table.
Yeah.
Whether he brings the food out or a server brings the food out, but there's a lot of the dishes that he needs to finish at the table, whether it's shaving a truffle or doing something like that. So he's very convivial. He's a very bright guy, very, very talented. It's an open kitchen. He works hard in that little space, too. He really does. Yeah. We've been there a couple of different times and enjoyed it both times. And I've had something different each time as well there. So
Rebecca and I've been, I think, 4 or 5 times, and we've never had a bad meal there.
Hard to.
And I like to bounce around, and I'm telling you, he has skills that not a lot of people, and it's very unique. Like you said, it's very, very unique.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's for everybody, but if you're an adventurous eater or you've got a good palate, you're not going to be disappointed because the quality of everything that goes on the plate is just wonderful. And Barry is, if you're eating, Barry's cooking it, is what it pretty much comes down to.
His hands are on it.
Yes, absolutely.
Or his thumbprints on it.
Right.
His hands might not be on it, but his thumbprints on it. It's an open kitchen, so you can look in, you can see exactly what's happening in there.
Yep.
So if you're listening and you're local, if you're not local, and you come to St. Augustine, I would suggest that's one of my top 3s.
Yeah, he'll definitely get it first.
Not putting these in any particular order.
No, and he'll get the first James Beard Award in St. Augustine, I'm sure, and that should probably be. And I would think it'll be in the next issue of the James Beard Awards, at least a nomination.
Yeah, I hope so.
And he's working hard to get a Michelin star.
He works really hard, and Barry and I talk. Like I said, he's a friend, and we participated in this process, and so I'm really rooting for him in that way. Yep. So you would agree that would be in your top 3 of recommendations.
Special event restaurants, there. Michael's, as I said, now I don't know what's happened since he's moved over, but it's probably a little bit of an easier facility to work because I would venture to say he built the kitchen for Pesca there, which he's now transitioned to Michael's Steaks. So
Pesca's on the
roof now,
Michael's is on the ground floor, is the way I understand it.
Yeah, it is.
And I haven't been to the new location enough.
No, I'm looking forward to getting there because, as I say, it's the best steak in town. And for a while, I wouldn't eat steaks in St. Augustine until Michael became Steaks. It's sort of hard to do. Though I will say I had the ribeye at Black Molly last night, and that was very, very good.
Yeah.
But third restaurant, I like La Nouvelle, again, coming back to Michael.
Okay.
It's a nice restaurant.
It's a Lugo.
Yeah, I admire what the man does.
This is a Lugo. You're going to have to start paying some bills here.
Yeah, we should get him. He needs us to support. Well, he doesn't, but he should have us support him.
Yeah,
but in all honesty, my favorite restaurant in St. Augustine, and this is not because they're a sponsor, because they've been my favorite restaurant in St. Augustine well before they were a sponsor, is Meehan's.
Yeah.
I love the staff there. The food is great. It's consistent. Reggie runs a business like no other restaurant I know.
It fits in my regular day lifestyle.
Yep.
And I'm telling you right now, you can't get a better human being.
Yes, I agree. So. And he hires the same way. The staff there are all stand-up people. They really, really are.
Have you been to Old City House?
Long time ago, I used to take my ghost tours there. Yes,
okay.
I haven't eaten there in quite some time, but I used to take my ghost tours down there because that place is kind of really haunted.
Old City House is on my list, and then I have 2 tied for third. All right, and I have Drunken Horse.
Okay, yeah, we like that a lot.
Okay, I have Drunken Horse, and I've really enjoyed. They have a mushroom risotto there, and I'm telling you right now, their French onion soup is a slap your mama type French onion soup. It is worth slapping your mama just to get a free bowl of French onion soup.
Right. And I don't think a lot of people are familiar with that restaurant either. It's sort of tucked in there on...
it's on Charlotte Street.
Yep.
And, and the story of...
and they have one in Manhattan, by the way.
Well,
I don't know if they still do, but they did. They had one in Manhattan before they opened down here.
They closed up during COVID.
Yeah.
And it kind of pushed them down in this direction because of the way New York handled things and Florida handled things differently. So they had to close in New York. So it was one of the benefits
for us
of that time. And Osmond, he came to this country. He couldn't speak English at all. And he became a restaurateur, and because he came through Israel, interesting story. He came through Israel, but he spoke Romanian, so no one really knew. They thought he spoke, whatever they speak in Israel. Hebrew. So they had a translator come. He didn't speak zero. He spoke zero Hebrew, and they finally got him to the right translator. They sent him in New York when he came through. He had like $137 when he left Israel and got here. And they got him to a restaurant. I think it was Romanian. I think it's Romanian. Hopefully I'm saying that right. It's Osmond. If I'm wrong, I apologize. But that's how he got in the restaurant business. Is when he came to the United States, spoke zero English, and he's owned like now 7 or 8 different restaurants. And I'm telling you right now, Drunken Horses,
and it's casual too. It's a fun place.
It's casual,
right.
And it's French food.
Yeah, it's like a French bistro light.
Yeah,
compared to it's not as shishi as La Nouvelle.
Yeah,
which isn't shishi either. La Nouvelle is a very casual restaurant. Great freaking wine list there as well. Michael knows his wines. Yeah. Or maybe Lindsay may be his wine consultant for the restaurants.
I think Michael knows his wines.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you're safe with that statement too.
Yeah.
All right, and the newest one that just opened up, and I think they're doing an amazing job. And I'm going to throw it back for a hidden gem.
Okay.
Because I have a hidden gem one too. The newest one that opened up is the Saint.
Yes.
And they've done an excellent job, and what they did just in their architect,
their build out, absolutely
nailed it.
Absolutely
freaking nailed it. Granted they have a location that's you can't really miss on.
Correct.
But they absolutely crushed it, and
I thought
their food is amazing. River and Fort.
I thought River and Fort was one of the most beautifully put together restaurants I've ever seen, and this one jumped over them.
Same architect,
absolutely,
and they're like
brilliant.
Basically, from River and Fort to Saint, they said hold my beer.
Yeah,
and the Saint, a little on the pricey side, but like I said, special occasion.
Sadly, everything is now.
Yeah, no, 100%. You're 100% correct. Even like McDonald's is more expensive. You're not getting out of McDonald's less than $10.
Correct.
But the Saint, to me, if everyone developed and did it the way these guys did, Bob and Jeff did, our city would be much better.
They should be sponsoring us as well.
Well, we're gonna work on it. We're gonna work on that.
They've been open about 2 months now. The Saint. Yeah, I've already eaten there twice and enjoyed it both times. And I just love the atmosphere. Mm-hmm. I love the build out there is fabulous. When it gets to be warmer, that's going to be one of the best places to sit outside in their courtyard. Mm-hmm. The outside, not unless you go upstairs to the roof. The outside at River and Fort is kind of right in the middle of everything. Over there on the end of Charlotte Street and Kuna Street. But the courtyard at Saint is protected because the building's in front and the courtyard's behind it.
Yes.
Plus, they also have all that terrace seating around the upstairs. It's really a great build out.
All right, we have about 5 minutes left. I want to talk about your hidden gem in St. Augustine.
And I got one.
Blake, I want you to participate in this because you've been to a handful of different restaurants. You're a fairly not burger and fries, but you're.
Did you really just say burger?
You're not a burger guy at all. I retracted that immediately.
Right.
Chicken sandwich.
Yeah.
Right.
You're a chicken sandwich kind of guy.
Apparently, I have a friend who swears by Culver's chicken sandwich. Just so you know, Blake. I'm just saying it's not me.
Not the best tender place. They're not the best chicken place.
The best tenders in town is Meehan's without a doubt.
Oh
yeah, I agree with that.
They need to come back on the menu.
Barley's close. Meehan's crushes them.
Yeah. But you still have to order off the kids menu though. So
yeah, we're gonna work on Reggie on that.
We got to get them
your
back.
Hidden gem as far as
I'm gonna go Il Gusto.
Augusto.
Il Gusto. It's an Italian restaurant. It's on US 1 South, where they open. It's not new anymore. There's a public. It's just off of Wildwood, I think. Comes out there. I'm pretty sure it's Wildwood that comes out to US 1 South. And it's next to, I want to say, Shaughnessy's. There's a bar there, Shaughnessy's. There's a Publix, and it's in the Publix shopping center. Italian restaurant. They make great
I have
pizza.
never been there.
It's fabulous. They've got veal on the menu, which is hard to find nowadays. Pastas are
Blake,
great.
we're putting that on the list.
It's
All right.
really, it's very small. They will take reservations. Food's great.
Yeah,
Pastas are great. They make a great veal salt and buca that I really, really enjoy. The pizzas that they make are really good. Yeah. So.
But we'll personally say though. So I know this restaurant wasn't around for a long time. Like I think it closed down when I was like 7 or 8. The one place I always still remember in my head, like living in the suburbs, was Sharky's.
Sharky's. The drive-through shrimp.
Okay.
Hey, it was
Well,
good.
you know,
I liked it. Okay.
Yeah, that was one of your favorites, even as, I mean, you were little.
Yeah, if you're going to bring up shrimp, I'm a big Osteen's fan.
Osteen's is the godfather.
Yeah. I just.
Osteen's, and then you have Barnacle Bills, and
Right.
now you have Scooters.
Right.
And that format still works today. And Osteen's,
It's just, they're the OG.
they are the
It's
OG.
just
Like if you talk
good.
OG restaurants
Yeah.
in St. Augustine,
Absolutely.
they're the OG.
Yep.
All right, my hidden gem, and I am not doing this just because it's in one of our properties. The Avale's
Oh, in the Hilton.
in the
The
Hilton.
Yeah. I've had dinner there.
If you have not eaten there, it will blow your mind of the skill set of the chef.
Good
over
to
there.
know. I've only eaten there once.
Yeah, the chef there is, he can. I would put him up against anybody when it comes to flavors in town, and it's people don't realize that it's even there. It's
Right.
open to the public,
Right.
But it's the Avale's, and it's not on Avale Street. It's inside the Hilton, and that restaurant to me is the hidden gem. When it's crowded every place else, you usually can get a table at the Avale's,
Right.
and you're going to get one of the finest meals you'll have in your life. So, last question, because we only have 2 minutes.
Okay.
All right. Meal that absolutely blew you away. Any country, any place you've ever been.
Guy Savoy in Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Julie and I were there for my birthday 10, 11 years ago, maybe more than that. I don't think we were in St. Augustine at the time, so it's probably 15 years ago. And it was just magnificent. And I'm talking that meal was better than the meal I had at Taillavant in Paris. It was outstanding. Other than La Malois, there's a French restaurant in Chagny, which is a little town in Burgundy. You can stay there. That blew my mind.
All right.
All right.
Blake, because I think you and I are going to be pretty close, but go ahead.
Is it doesn't involve Zimbabwe?
Yes.
Warhog?
Warthog.
Oh,
You ever had warthog?
I have not.
I'm telling you right now, I thought warthog would taste like
Chicken? Right.
I thought it would taste like pork. It's a hog. It's
Yeah.
called a warthog. But it tastes like one of the best steaks.
Yeah?
Am I lying, Blake?
You are not lying, and it looks exactly. It looks like chicken.
It looks like chicken.
Really?
And it tastes like the best steak you've ever had.
Interesting.
Yeah,
And I'm telling you, how ridiculous was it?
it was ridiculous. But
That might have to be next year's meal.
Yeah. Yeah, but the place we went to, there was like a special ceremony for it. Like so we had to wear like their sashes, like their style.
And we had to eat some worm or something.
Yeah.
We had to eat, and
Like
you
a-
got a badge for eating the worm.
Did you get tequila with it?
No. No tequila involved.
Well, hold
I
on.
can't remember what it was. What was it?
Like some. It wasn't like a tapeworm. Obviously
It wasn't tapeworm. That lives in your stomach.
Yeah.
But
Maybe a
you had
grub
to-
of some nature?
But it was like a grub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, and Blake and I, I knew you were going to be on that same page because it caught us so off guard.
Yeah,
right.
But
Like we're eating it, we're like, you ever take a bite and you're like, oh my gosh.
yeah.
Yeah.
I can tell you, today I had Alfredo dipping sauce with breadsticks
Right.
at the Chianti room. Woo! They crushed it.
Yeah, but we'll say though the biggest shock, but for me another shocking thing was the difference of quality in chicken in like different locations. Because speaking about Zimbabwe,
Kentucky Fried Chicken.
it's
In
Kentucky
Zimbabwe,
Fried Chicken.
completely different.
It
Oh,
tastes-
yeah.
and
I'm
honestly,
sure.
and honestly, it tastes better.
Completely different.
I'm sure.
So, but a place not to go for food, Iceland. Don't go there for food. Horrible.
A lot of mutton.
Horrible.
A lot of mutton.
All right. Anything else you got to throw in there, Blake? Because we're about to end the show.
I'll definitely say Mike, but the place I always go to when I know it's something special like a birthday, Yamato's.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
likes,
I like
he
them-
likes
like-
the noodles and Yamato's. He's
Okay.
he's a bocce guy.
Yeah.
What about you? What any last words?
I'm good. Now I'm hungry.
Yeah, I'm starving.
Now I'm thinking back about Guy Savoy and La Malois.
And I have to go meet a friend at the Saint
Ah,
tonight.
what a shame.
Yeah, I feel terrible.
It sucks being you.
About this. Guys, this is Bollox Talks and Tangents. Thank you so much. You'll have Lenny and Blake next week. We don't know what the topic is yet. They got
Neither do we.
But appreciate you guys participating. Wonderful time, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.